Hey guys, welcome back. This Java video tutorial will show you how to declare a variable, create an object of scanner class, and also will show you how to use user input in a calculation and print the results afterwards. This Java video tutorial is intended for my APCSA students to use as a reference. Okay, now what we are going to calculate this time is the circumference of a circle. So that's the output I want to display, okay, when I run this code. So I'm going to say circumference. I want to see this message of a circle. Okay, circumference of a circle. So this is the message I'm going to see later when I run it. And the formula to get the circumference of a circle is 2 times 3.1416 times the radius. Okay. Oops, you see the red line here, meaning to say, what is that? The Java doesn't recognize what this radius is. So, and also, what is the value of radius? Can I just initialize the value of radius to any number like 3.2? Well, I cannot do that as a programmer because the radius is not always equal to 3.2. It could be any number, whole number or fraction. So it's a bad idea to initialize it to a constant value because again, it could be any value. So it is much better if the user of this program decides what the radius is. Okay, so I'm going to just I'm just going to let the user, and when the user enters a value, where should that input go? Of course, it should go straight to the computer memory. And in programming, computer memory is also known as the what we call variable, and a variable must be named. We have to name our variable. Okay, so I am going to I'm going to create a variable radius, and that is what we call the identifier. So I named it radius because it holds the value, it holds a number that is what we call radius. Okay, so it makes sense if I use radius. I don't want to use any variable name like y or x because it's vague. I mean, what is x? What is y? So if you are going to name your variable, make sure that it is clear. It says what it is inside. The names is what we call, the name is relevant to what is inside of it. So it is better if I use, it is much better if I use radius as the identifier. Now, when you are naming your variable, there are a few rules, okay? It should start with a small letter. It may not start with a number. It may not have a space, okay? And it may have underscore or what else? Numbers in between, okay? But again, by convention, it should start. It starts with a small letter, and then we have to specify what type of data radius holds. Now in Java, we have what we call primitive data types, okay? And what are those 8 primitive data types? They are byte, short, int, long. These 4 hold number without decimal, or what we call whole number. Okay, byte is shorter than short, meaning short is bigger than byte. It can hold 16 bits. Okay, while byte can only hold 8 bits signed 2's complement integer. But int is bigger than short because it can hold 32-bit signed 2's complement integer, while short can only hold 16-bit. But again, there's another one that is bigger than int, which is what we call long, because the long data type is a 64-bit 2's complement integer. Okay, so these 4 can hold integers, meaning number without decimals. Now, floats and double are similar because they can hold a floating point, meaning what you call this, fractions or number with decimal. But double is better because it's bigger than floats, because double data type is a double precision 64-bit, while float is just 32 bits. Okay, and then the last 2. So by the way, here at CPP we use double because it's better because it can hold bigger values. Boolean is a data type that only has 2 possible values. They are true and false. Well, later on we will use this data type. And then the last primitive type is char. Well, this char data type is a single 16-bit Unicode character, meaning the variable that is of type char can hold 1 letter or 1 special character or 1 digit. Okay, so these are the 8 primitive data type. So let's go back to our Java code. So let's specify what type of data this radius variable can hold. So I want the user to input a number with decimals. So I'm going to declare my radius variable as double. Okay, so we are now done reserving a memory space. So we are now ready to ask the user to enter a radius. Enter radius. Let me say enter radius. Okay. Now I want the user to input the radius on the same line. So I'm going to delete the ln from println so that the user enters on the same line as the message enter radius. Okay. Now whatever the method that we need to let the user input is what we call next double. Now, what is next double method? Next double method is not in this class, obviously, because that's why it's underlined. Okay, well, where is it exactly? It's in scanner class. So we are using another class beside the class that we are working on, that we are currently working on. And one of the methods in scanner class is next double. Next double is the method that we use to allow the user, here, next double, to input a number with decimal or floating point or fraction. So, but the problem is it's not static. So in other words, if some classes or some methods call next double, it should have its objects. Meaning to say, in other words, in order for main to call next double, main should use the reference to the object. Main must have the object of scanner class in order for the next double to be called, to be invoked. So if we just write next double, the computer will not be able to find where this is. Like what I said, it's in scanner class. So what we're going to do, so since next double is not a static method, there must be an object. An object of what? An object of the class where next double is, and that class is scanner class. Now, object creation consists of two parts. Now, the first part is variable declaration, just like what we have here. So we have to declare another variable. Let me call my variable as input, since it has something to do with user input. It makes sense, right? Then I have to declare it as scanner, because this input is referring to the object of scanner class. Next, followed by assignment operator. I'm going to tell you why we use assignment operator later on. And then after that, the second part is the object creation itself. So we start with the keyword new, meaning to say we are creating a new object of what? Of the scanner class. Okay, now when you do this, compiler calls a method in scanner class, a method that is very special, and that method is what we call constructor. But the problem is scanner class has a lot of constructors over here. So which of them are we going to use? So since we're talking about user input, so we are going to use this. We're going to use the constructor with one parameter, which is of type input stream. So we are going to specify what constructor to call by specifying it here. System therein is the input stream, and the opposite of input stream is what we used over here, which is output system.out. Okay, so again, this is what we call object creation. Scanner object creation. It has two parts: the variable declaration, which is named input and of type scanner, and then the second part is the object creation. Now when the compiler sees this, it calls the constructor of scanner class, and specifically the one with the input stream parameter. Okay, now again, this object over here that we just created is assigned. That's why we're using assignment operator, because the object that is being created by doing this is assigned to input. In other words, input is a reference variable. It refers to the object of scanner object. Okay, so again, input is a reference variable that refers to the object of scanner. Okay, now, but if you I'm sure you see the red line here, it means that there is an error. Now again, we have to help the computer find where scanner class is by importing its package. Okay, and the package of scanner class is java.util. So you don't have to type it manually. You don't have to type the import statements. Just place on the pointer on the underlined word, and you will see these suggestions over here, and click the first one, which is the import scanner, and voila, the import declaration is there already. It's typed. Okay, it is included, so you don't have to type it. Just click on it, when you see it, when you place your pointer on the underlined word. Okay, now, so since main has a way to go to scanner and use or call the method next double, so we can now write this one. But the problem is still it is underlined. So what seems to be the problem? So even though we created an object of scanner, still next double is not found, still not found. So we have to help the computer where to find it. We have to tell the computer that, hey, this next double method is in scanner class. And again, what refers to the scanner class or scanner object? Input. If I say input, I am talking about the scanner object. So we should tell the compiler that, hey, next double is in scanner class, and to get there, use input, something like that. Okay, so we are using the reference variable to help the compiler where to find next double. Okay, so the underlines are gone. So now when we run this, the computer is now able to input a floating point number or fraction with a number with or without decimal. So again, let's go back to the statement, the printing of the results. Okay, so the formula is 2 times 3.14, 16 times the radius. And the radius is here that we declared, but it doesn't have a value. So the value that should be stored in radius is this, the user inputs, right? So because of this, the user will be able to input. So whatever the input is, it should be assigned to radius, right? It should be stored in the memory that we reserved a while ago by declaring this variable. Okay, so now we can use radius to calculate the circumference of a circle. Okay, now there is another way of doing this pi in math class. So let's go to math class. So another let's go back to the API, specifically the math class. Okay, so math class has what we call fields or constant over here. Okay, we have the E and also we have the pi. So this is what I'm going to use to use the pi in the formula. So since pi is a constant and it is static, so it has nothing to do with objects. I don't have to create an object of math in order for main method to access pi because it is static. So again, it has nothing to do with objects. So instead, I'm going to access pi, capital P and capital I, using the name of the class since pi is static, right? I don't have to create an object of math class because the pi that I need from math class is static. So if you can see, all the methods in math are static, meaning to say this method can be called, this method can be invoked without the creation of objects, okay, of math class. Just use the name of the class where the method is or where the constant is, like what I just did here. I used pi using the name of the class because again, pi is static. So I think we are done with this program. Okay, so again, like what I said a while ago, this video tutorial shows you how to declare So here I declared one variable of type double. Also here I declared another variable of type scanner. Also, this video tutorial shows you how to create an object of scanner, which is this line, this statement. It has two parts, the variable declaration and the object declaration. So new is a keyword. It means that we are creating a new scanner object. And when this is done, the scanner constructor is called, and since there are so many constructor of scanner, we specifically call this scanner constructor with the input stream parameter. And this object over here that is being created is assigned to input. So in other words, input is referring to the scanner object. Okay, so now main can invoke any methods from the scanner class, because it now has the key. It's like the key to the scanner class to invoke any methods. Okay, so like what we do here, like what I just did here. So the main calls the next double using the reference to the scanner object. So the computer would know where to go to call this, to access next double, because of this reference variable. Okay, so whatever the input is, it is assigned because of this assignment operator here. Whatever the user input is, it is assigned to radius. So radius has a value, and that value is the user input. And the last line down here is the printing of this message, followed by concatenated with the result. Okay, the what you call this, the circumference of a circle. Okay, so let's try this if this is working. Okay, so the user is asked, okay, to enter radius. So let's say 2.4. Then to accept the input, press enter key, and the output, like what I wrote in here, down here, circumference of a circle is 15 point blah blah blah. Okay, so obviously this code is working. Now if you notice, after the opening curly braces, the body is indented. So I don't want to see your code aligned like this. I want your code properly written, meaning to say use indentation. So again, after the opening curly brace, it's automatically done anyway. So when you are done pressing opening curly brace, and when you press enter key, see, it is automatically indented. So you don't have to worry about the indentation. But just in case it doesn't work on your Eclipse IDE on your computer, just make sure that you press the tab key on your keyboard in order for you to indent the body. Okay, right after the opening curly brace, the body, which is, I don't know, whatever the body is, it should be indented. Okay, now I have another opening curly brace here, so whatever follows that, it is indented. Now you have 5 lines or 5 statements that are indented. Okay, so your your code must be properly written. And in the test, I will be grading the way you code, the way you write your code. So indentation is graded. Okay, I hope this would help you in so many ways. Till next time, bye bye.